97.7 QLZ's Third String Morning Show.
Best known for their hits Good, Desperately Wanting, Juicy, and so many others. Better Than Ezra and the Wallflowers going to be in town on Sunday. Actually going to be in Peoria at the riverfront on Sunday. I have the bassist, one of the founding members of Better Than Ezra, on the phone with me, Tom Drummond. Tom, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for your time today. I know I can speak on behalf of people listening to this right now that's a very exciting lineup. Wallflowers and Better Than Ezra kind of takes you back a few years.
It does, and when the proposition was first given to us, we were like, yeah, we love the Wallflowers. And they were, basically from our era as well. An era where people actually play their instruments. And they're a great live band. They're nice guys, and we're having fun with it.
And so you being one of the founding members of Better Than Ezra, you've been with not everybody, the lineup changes, of course, but you've been with some of the same guys for a couple decades now. How do you put up with them after all this time?
Man, it's like a marriage. When to step back, when to give somebody their space and they need some room, but I think at some point you got to like being together or it just doesn't work.
That makes a lot of sense. I know James Hetfield of Metallica had talked about recently where the band has gotten to the point that they work best when they only see each other on stage, which is both impressive and sad at the same time.
Yeah, we're definitely not that way. I could see that, but those guys are playing bigger venues, and so there's more money, more ego, more everything. You stir the pot with that, and you never know what you're going to get. But you know what? We genuinely like each other. We have a good time. Like we'll go, like if we're on tour, we'll go to the movies together. We'll go to dinner together. So we actually like each other.
Actually like each other. I like the terminology there. All right, well, let's say you guys go to the movies together then. Do you guys normally have the same picks, or is there a little bit of negotiation that happens?
There's a little bit of negotiation, but typically it's fairly similar. And I think also that's part of the reason why we get along. Musically we're fairly similar, and also we all live in different cities now, so there's always a large piece of time where we're not together. So then when we're back on tour, then we're together for the first time in a few months, so it's kind of good that way.
I think that helps. That absolutely helps. Of course, with you guys, with you being in the band for so long, you've been doing it for at least a couple decades now. You've seen the
almost 3.
Right, exactly. You've seen the heights of rock popularity. You've seen the lows of rock popularity. Where are we at right now? Are we in a rock revival?
I would like to think so, but you know what? I was just looking at the Spotify chart and the Billboard charts, and it's just it's a lot of pop. There's not a single. The only guitar band I see in the top 30 is like Imagine Dragons, and even their stuff's fairly pop. At least there's guitars in it. I don't know. I'm not sure. You tell me.
Well, I think we're seeing some concerts start to climb the rankings, so to speak. We're starting to see a lot of rock acts starting to be making more money anyway, at least on the touring scene. And I've asked this question of Taylor Momsen of the Pretty Reckless and some other artists, and there seems to be an excitement and optimism towards rock and roll right now. I don't know if we have the budget to see it. Like we can't maybe see the numbers, but there seems to be a feeling that rock's on the rise.
Well, I hope that maybe the appreciation for people who can actually play their instruments and play them together as in a band, I hope that maybe is on the rise again, because we've been in this era where it's all been DJ backing tracks where it's just one person on stage and there's no other musicians at all. It's been that for so long that I'm hoping that the resurgence of the live music, as a band is coming back around.
Hopefully, and glad that there's still acts like yourself that are out there performing for the people with the instruments. Nothing against DJs, nothing against any of that. There's a place for everybody, but definitely appreciate the old-fashioned approach to making music. But with almost 3 decades of this band under your belt, how do you keep going? Like, what's the motivation outside of obviously you want to do it for the fans, but how do you make album 1 and the last album sound different without sounding too different and alienating your audience?
Yeah, that's the trick. But you know what? The thing is we love what we do. We're not a shoegazer band. Like, we like to get out there and have fun. We like to have audience participation. We're energetic. Really, honestly, I feel like it keeps us young. It keeps us relevant. Like, we listen to the stuff that's relevant right now. So we will take what is good about it and maybe incorporate it into what we're doing. And not so much that it's selling out, but in the sense that, we're paying attention to what everybody at least is listening to. So that sort of is the trick, I think, to staying relevant, is being able to bring your old fans with you, but then get new fans as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you mentioned that you want to listen to some of the relevant bands. Who are you listening to right now?
Well, like I mentioned, Imagine Dragons, certainly. I think as far as them and Maroon 5, as far as like guitar, bands that have guitars, I think they're doing the right thing. And I think if you listen to their stuff, you can see what I'm talking about. Like, it's still pop, but yet there's the band element within there. But honestly, man, I listen to like Drake and Kendrick Lamar, and I listen to whatever's happening. Just to, even Justin Bieber. I mean, the Justin Bieber album is pretty good. Believe it or not. I mean, really, it is. I mean, I didn't want to say that. I didn't want to be able to say that, but it's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
So I just listen to anything and everything that I think is good. I have an appreciation for. It's not necessarily my genre or my forte, but if it's good, good is good. But to be honest, I'm thinking about putting together an 80s DJ rig for myself just to go like play friends' parties when I'm in town. So I've been listening to a lot of 80s stuff.
Okay. All right. There's nothing wrong with that. Although I do believe, isn't the 90s back? I mean, isn't the 80s out and 90s isn't? Yeah.
But I've lived the 90s, man.
I lived the 90s.
There.
Yeah, well, right. I was there as well, and I don't remember it being as awesome then as it is apparently now.
I think that it was just. There's no way to have that perspective until you get a little ways down the road, and that's just like there was no way to have perspective on the 70s, or the 80s, and then now it's the 90s. So I think it was a magical time where everybody was playing guitar. And there were a lot of bands. And there was that time before the pop sort of artists came back. And it was, for us, it was just good timing.
Now, maybe it's just me getting old or us getting old, but I remember in the 90s, like, oh, well, I don't know. Music's not as good as it used to be, or TV's not as good as it used to be. And now, here in 2017, look back on it, like, man, I miss the 90s.
Yep. That's called perspective, my friend.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah.
So not to bring things down too much, but of course we lost another musical legend in Chester Bennington from Lincoln Park here recently. Did you ever meet Chester at any point?
I'm not sure that we ever crossed paths. I seem to think maybe we played a festival show where they were headlining. Right when they first started, I think somewhere from Chicago, possibly. But we never really crossed paths. We did. The guy who A&R'd their first record, A&R'd our album with Lifetime on it, and so that's probably the closest correlation to them.
Okay.
The business side, but didn't know him.
Okay. And, of course, not long before him, Chris Cornell passing away of Soundgarden. Did you work with him?
Never worked with him, but certainly listened to their albums many, many times. I thought he was maybe the purest rock singer out there. He's just an amazing songwriter and, true tragedy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I bring this up not just to, see if you had any stories, but because they obviously had some sort of mental health issues. There was obviously some demons inside. And I know here at QLZ, we're really making a push for mental health awareness, really trying to bring it out to the public with the passings of these great stars. It needs to be talked about. Is there something
it's an issue?
Yeah, it definitely is an issue. So talked to a gentleman from the You Rock Foundation just last week, and just trying to make people aware that it's real. It's not just in our heads. I mean, this is a serious thing. And I was wondering.
And the thing is that there is help out there. Mm-hmm. It's just, I think sometimes, people are a little embarrassed maybe, or I'm not sure why they don't seek help, because it's out there. And especially in the rock world where it's very easy to have addictions, or the road life is not easy, man. Like it's really easy to fall into, I'm up from a show, but I got to go to sleep. So I got to be ready at 8 in the morning, and I got to sleep on the bus. So you take something, and then this cycle just repeats over and over and over again. And sooner or later, you find yourself addicted to whatever it might be. And then that, alongside maybe being depressed or having some sort of issue, it's not good. So that's the sort of problems that touring musicians deal with.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine how difficult that is, living life on the road in many cases. I know I've suffered from depression for over a decade now, and I'm no stranger to talking about it on the air again, trying to lead by example. Hey, let's have a conversation about this. I'm much better at identifying it now, but early in my prognoses, I didn't know that I was having these bad thoughts. Like, it became so commonplace, I didn't realize, this isn't normal to be thinking this.
Right. And I think that people that don't have it don't understand. So they can't conceive why it is you're this way or having these thoughts, because they don't have them. So it's foreign to them, so they don't understand it. So that's probably not helping things either.
And I would say it's probably foreign to even some of us. I chuckled because for the longest time, for years, I didn't even realize that I was acting a certain way. But is there something that you are passionate about, or maybe the band is passionate about? Maybe mental health, maybe it's saving lost puppies. What are you guys passionate about?
Well, we have a foundation in New Orleans. It doesn't really deal with mental health, but it does deal with education. We've adopted an elementary school here in New Orleans where most of the kids are really underprivileged. Some of the kids only eat at school type scenario. So we run an after-school program for them, in that sort of critical part of the day between 3 and 5 where there's nothing good going to happen if you're wandering the streets. So we feel good about that. We feel like we can make a real change there. Like, we're having an impact, with these kids, and we're actually looking to expand it to some more schools. So we feel like nothing gets better until early education gets better.
I can agree with that. I can definitely get behind that. If people want to learn more about that, where can they look that up?
They can go to the btefoundation.org.
Excellent.
And we hold events. We call them fundraisers. We hold like 3 or 4 different events during the year. Our next one's coming up in the fall. We're doing a golf tournament in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We play a show. It's a big LSU Auburn weekend. Could be a good road trip for somebody if they wanted to come down to South Louisiana.
Never a bad excuse to head down to South Louisiana and New Orleans. I'll tell you that. Yeah, especially absolutely. When it gets to help a good cause, too. That makes it even better. But thank you so much for your time. Tom Drummond, the bassist of Better Than Ezra. Again, you're going to be performing with the band, with the Wallflowers, Sunday in Peoria. Good luck with the show. Thank you for coming to the area in advance. If anybody wants to follow you on social, where can they find you?
We're on everything. We're on Instagram. On Instagram, it's We Are Better Than Ezra. Find individual members from there. And then on Twitter, it's Better Than Ezra. I was going to say, you know what? In all of our years of touring, we've never played Peoria.
Wow. Well, there you go. First time for everything. Hopefully we don't disappoint.
No, I'm sure it'll be great. We're looking forward to it.
97.7 QLZ. Anything that rocks.